Well, as usual, Spirit of 420 here. As usual, I forgot to say the title. So, Spirit of 420 presents Missed Opportunities, Part 1. Also, another note, on the previous episode, I discussed when my wife got hit. Clearly, I was stoned. I think I said, whatever the hell I said, it was her fibula. Just to be correct, it was the fibula that was broken, not the femur. I think I actually said femur, which is the ridiculous. That would have been a horrible break. And I realized that. Again, stoned. Anyway, enjoy the episode. Thanks. Hello, everyone. Spirit of 420 here. Because everything I do is so 420. The facts that I share on here are 100% true, and I can prove it. And the opinions are mine. You can't have them, but you're more than welcome to share them. I did want to go in a little bit right away and cover my identity. So I'm not going to share my name or share the names of, the real names of the people in the stories, simply because of the fact that I am checking their identity. I'm not really so much worried about my identity, although I do want it to be a while before my boss sees these videos. So, hopefully if you do figure out who I am through facial recognition and other clever little things of the day, maybe you would be so kind as to not share it. At least until I have enough views that I don't need a job anymore, which may never happen, right? Probably won't. Well, I shouldn't say probably won't. I think if I do this consistently for a couple of years, I'll have a following. We just don't know how big it'll be. Having said that, one of my famous little segues is that little phrase. Again, I'm not necessarily hiding per se my identity. I just don't want to come right out and say it. Plus, my online persona really is Spirit 420 and has been for the longest time. I do have another one, and we'll end up sharing that with you later, but not right now. So the story for today is real simple. It's a story of missed opportunity. So when I was, and I'll just set the mood, when I was a drug dealer, and I was now making quite a bit of money. I was probably, at the time of this story, consistently moving about 60, 70 pounds a week where I live. Now, keep in mind, I have noted already, I did get busted. But before I got busted, this was a time when I was moving about 60, 70 pounds. And I had decided to live across the street from the county jail in the police department where I was at. No shit. Put up a perimeter fence, and it was almost like I was daring them. Funny enough, I never got caught from that. I actually didn't get caught until a year and a half later, when I moved to a different home. But nonetheless, I was living across the street from the cops, and I would still go on my rants. And at this time, I was really, really hardcore into smoking cocaine. By the way, here's my 420 mug for those who can't see it. But I was really big into smoking cocaine. And I'll tell the first story of that another day. But by this point, I was now buying them by the ounce. And I would smoke up an ounce over a 2.5 to 3 day period. And my girlfriend at the time, we'll call her Lola, she would try to keep up, which just didn't really work out for her. This was one of those nights, as a matter of fact. So all day, we had plans to go see Tool. That's why I'm telling the story. And they were playing at a great venue about 55 minutes away in the larger city that I live near. And I was a huge fan. I'd been waiting for a while to see him. I hadn't seen him since 92 Lollapalooza. And this was 94, so this was the Enema album, if everybody knows that album. Anyway, needless to say, it's really no surprise that I smoked myself silly. I tried to stop. I really did. And what I mean by that is I took a shower, got myself cleaned. But by the time I was done with the shower, I was still geeking so hard. I knew there was no way I was going to make that drive. And that's when I realized I was going to miss Tool and stay home and smoke crack instead. And I'll tell you, you can't regret, because everything happens for a reason. I now try to believe that had I gone on that journey, something horrible may have happened, especially considering the condition I was in. It's almost prime that it would, right? To me, that is another case of God showing me, hey, I didn't have the greatest relationship with God at the time, mind you, but clearly God had a relationship with me and didn't want me to go, because had I gone, that would have changed the course of my life. I truly believe that. But I did miss school. I did stay home, and I did smoke crack all night with my girlfriend until I watched her have a seizure at about 3 o'clock that morning from trying to, like I said, she tried to keep up hit for hit, and I was taking a hit of crack about every 3 minutes, and I'm a 200 plus, at the time I was like 240, 230 pounds, so. And this little girl trying to keep up with me was maybe at best a $125. So you can imagine, it just wasn't a good scenario. So that's my first missed opportunity story. I have many, many more, trust me. I did want to talk about something strange, and so I'm just going to cut away to a clip here in just a minute. But this, just to give you the preface of this happened, and I tell most of it in there, so I'm not going to tell all of it, but essentially this was just a couple of nights ago, and I couldn't believe it. I'll come back to it in a minute, so here you go. So, as I said, this happened just a couple of nights ago, and here I am. I'm leaving just the local Walmart, went and picked up a grocery order. So this Audi pulls out in front of me. Now, obviously, you can see I am doing nothing to provoke him. I'm simply sitting behind him, waiting for him, to turn left. We're both waiting at the light. No big deal. And then when the light turns green, here in just a second, you're going to find, just watch him. I turn left into my left lane. He turns left into the far right lane, which is already ridiculous. I don't give it any gas. I'm not tailing him or anything. And you'll see, I go into the left lane. No problem. And then dude just guns it. You can hear his turbo kick in. You can't hear. I've muted because I had my stereo playing, so that's all you could hear. But I could hear his turbo kick in over my stereo, which is ridiculously loud. He literally goes out of view. Don't see him anymore. This is a hill. This is a 40-mile-an-hour zone. I think got up to maybe 43 at tops. You can see him up in the distance. He's turning right. I mean, he's a good while ahead. Now, watch the other car. Car lights go off. It's a green light. He's still just sitting there. And I know he's sitting there waiting to provoke me. So I just go around him. He tries to run me into the other car. Ridiculous. Couldn't believe it. So, now I'm a little pissed. And he pulls off into the middle lane. So I pull off into this lane for just a couple seconds, and I'm like, dude, what is going on? What are you doing? His girlfriend's just sitting there like, duh. This guy is telling me how I'm drunk and all this stuff. Then he gets out of his car. Now, I'd already gotten out of my car and let him know that I wasn't going to have any trouble. But he gets out of his car, and he's dressed in this outfit. Ridiculous. Right? So, this guy got out. He had the tight, baggy, and when I say baggy, what I mean is they were slightly bigger up on the thighs, but obviously that was just his bulging thighs. And then they wrapped around, like everything was wrapped around him. His pants were wrapped around him. His t-shirt was wrapped around him. I could see every horrible six-pack in his ribs. And he thought he was a badass. He got out of the car, and I know you're not going to be able to see this, so I'll step back. But he got out of the car and he started doing these karate stances like this. And I thought it was funny because I ended up pulling into this little secure place where you store stuff. And the guy that was there, the night watchman, came out with his dogs, and he was like, if that dude comes on the property, I'm going to tell him that he needs to get off, that he's trespassing. And I was like, thanks, man. I wasn't scared of him by any means, and I actually had my defensive weapon. And I showed the video and all this to the police and told the police the whole story. And from my understanding, they're going to go get him a reprimanding because, get this, even though it was clearly obvious that I had reached 40 miles an hour, and this dude probably reached like 70, 75, maybe 80 up that hill. He blasted that Audi, floored it, just right up the hill, right? In this residential area, there's nothing that can be done because there's no radar. No radar. So that was my strange thing for the day. My everything happens for a reason story today is a relatively recent one. And it's how I got the job that I currently have. I'm in my 4th year at this job. And for those of you who don't know me, that's probably the absolute longest I've ever had a job. In fact, yep, I would bet I cannot think of another job that I had there was a job that I quit, came back to, and had maybe about almost 3 years at it. But no job have I been full 3 years at, literally, in my entire life. And I'm turning 50. So, back to how I got that job. The gentleman that runs the company, the CEO, he's an ex-Marine, or ex-Air Force. 7 years, did his tour, and he was, and thank you very much for your effort. Hopefully he'll never see this. But anyway, he actually knows the truth now, but I just don't want him to see these videos. At least for a long time, as I said. But back to the story. So, this guy puts out an ad. Now, I had gone my whole life embellishing my resume, but never actually just straight up lying, right? And I wanted to get a good job. I wanted to get a steady job. I had made a move, and we had settlement money, but I wanted to make sure that, everything was in place before the settlement money ran out, because no money lasts forever. And I called a buddy of mine back east from where I lived, and I was like, hey, would you mind vouching that I'd been at that company for 6 years? And he said, yeah, no problem. And I had that on my resume. Well, everything truly happens for a reason, and it happens the way it's supposed to. And this is another example, because the guy that does the hiring, the president of the company, literally who hires, it's a small agency. He will not hire. He won't even look. One of his prerequisites is that you have to have 5 years at a company, your last company. And the funny thing is, he hired me on that stipulation, obviously. I mean, I blew away the interview and everything else, and everything went well, and obviously he liked my character. And just so you know, I have blown it away for these people. They are very, very happy with me. They would never, they keep telling me they would never want me to go, and probably the only thing that will take me is either me not working anymore at all or death. So I'm very, very happy, and I've stayed longer than anywhere else. And it was on that one little lie that I never do. And I wouldn't have gotten this job. And this is the job that I was supposed to have. Everything does. I mean, if you don't get that, then I don't know what to tell you. With that, I won't keep you much longer today. I have other things to do. I've got to go sell a stupid toy that I don't use anymore and get some extra money. I don't know if you folks do that. But funny enough, I will end it with this. I was actually in a really bad mood, and I still am in a horrible mood, but this has to happen. This has to continue, and I'm going to try to, no matter what kind of a shit day I'm having, I will try my best to be polite and give you a decent little show. In closing, most people do not realize just how normal strange is. That is my tagline, and with that, everybody has opinions. Everybody else thinks that everybody stinks like an asshole, right? We know that little thing. Mine stink like fine, fresh brewed coffee. Well, that is a ridiculous blend that I created myself. And dank-ass medical grade weed. Till next episode, everyone. Thank you so much. One last quick note. I did blur out the date because of the dash cam that I had the wrong date. It had it as 2017 and had it approximately 8 o'clock. When actually this happened, like I said, 2 nights ago. Today is the 27th, so this happened on the 25th at around 9:30. There you go. That was it. Stay lovey. Have a good day.